Here we are with preseason on the horizon, and plenty of household names surprisingly remain unemployed.
Let's start with wideout Amari Cooper on the other side of the ball. How about 32-year-old Matthew Judon?
So, here are 10 big-named NFL free agents that you didn't realize are still unsigned and available to sign with your favorite team. Amari Cooper. Just imagine somebody telling you 1 year ago that Cooper would remain unsigned with 2025 free agency underway. Life sure comes at you fast in the NFL. The 5-time Pro Bowler has been one of the NFL's most productive receivers since his 2015 rookie year, with 7 1,000-yard seasons over 10 years. But Cooper endured the worst season of his career in 2024, recording just 44 catches for 547 yards and 4 touchdowns. You can chalk much of that up to being on a lousy Cleveland Browns team, but Cooper was hardly noticeable after getting dealt to the Buffalo Bills at the deadline. I mean, how are you a non-factor with Josh Allen as your QB? Still, it is a bit of a surprise that Cooper is available when inferior receivers like Brandon Cooks, Josh Palmer, and Darius Slayton landed multi-year deals. Stephon Diggs isn't much better than Cooper at this phase of his career, and he just got $63.5 million from the New England Patriots. Cooper is entering his age 31 season, sure, but don't forget, he had a career year with the Browns in 2023. The truth must be somewhere in between. 800 to 900 yards might be a more realistic target now, but man, that would still make Cooper an effective number 2 receiver somewhere. Justin Simmons. Despite earning his 2nd Pro Bowl selection and 4th second-team All-Pro nod in 2023, Simmons was released by the Denver Broncos in a cap-saving move. So it felt like a giant coup for the Atlanta Falcons when they grabbed Simmons on a 1-year deal worth $8 million following his release. Simmons was still at the peak of his powers when Denver cut him loose, and he was to form a prolific secondary alongside fellow All-Pro safety Jesse Bates and star cornerback A.J. Terrell. Though Simmons had 2 interceptions and 7 pass breakups, he never quite looked like his All-Pro self in Atlanta. Simmons finished with a lackluster 59.9 grade at Pro Football Focus, but that was largely brought on by porous pass rush and run defense grades. According to Pro Football Reference, Simmons allowed an 81.9 passer rating when targeted and only 229 yards in coverage. So he's still a difference maker against the pass, which is why his status as a free agent in training camp is a bit surprising. In today's pass-heavy NFL, you need all the help you can get in the secondary. Simmons would be a very nice piece for a Super Bowl hopeful with voids at safety. You know, like the Buffalo Bills, Los Angeles Rams, San Francisco 49ers, or heck, the Cincinnati Bengals. One thing's for certain though, whoever ends up picking Simmons on a no-risk, high-reward deal is not gonna regret it. Matt Judon. Judon emerged as one of the league's best pass rushers after joining the New England Patriots on a 4-year deal in 2021 free agency. In 3 years under Bill Belichick, Judon racked up 32 sacks in just 38 games. Unhappy with his contract situation heading into last year, Judon and the Pats couldn't agree on a new deal, so he was sent to the Atlanta Falcons in exchange for a 3rd-round pick. Judon didn't make much of an impact with his new team, however, tallying just 5.5 sacks and no forced fumbles. But it's not like Judon was a product of the so-called Patriot way under Belichick. He earned back-to-back Pro Bowl nods with the Baltimore Ravens in 2019 and 2020 before taking his talents to New England, tallying 9.5 sacks in the former year. Maybe Judon is past his prime, or maybe Atlanta was just a bad fit for the 4-time Pro Bowler. But hey, other teams don't know until one of them actually takes a chance on him. Might be worth noting that only 11 players have more sacks than Judon since 2021, even though he missed most of the 2023 season. With 37.5 sacks in that 4-year period, Judon has more than the likes of Khalil Mack, Rashawn Gary, DeForest Buckner, and Cameron Hayward. And that's just to name a few names. Brandon Sherf. The Jacksonville Jaguars caught a lot of heat, and we're not talking about the Florida sunshine. And it's all when they handed Sherf a 3-year deal worth $49.5 million in 2022 free agency. And that was because of Sherf's lengthy injury history, not his production. Incredibly, the 5-time Pro Bowl guard stayed healthy and started every game in Jacksonville over the duration of his contract. The Sherf had a meh PFF grade of 64.7 last year, but he remained excellent in run blocking, garnering a 74.5 pass blocking grade that placed him in 19th among guards. He may be entering his age 33 season, but Sherf is still better than the vast majority of starting NFL guards. You tell me the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to bring him in for depth after getting manhandled in the Super Bowl? The 49ers don't want to take a cheap replacement for Aaron Banks? Come on, the Houston Texans have no interest in helping CJ Stroud? The hell, what about the Cincinnati Bengals? There are far too many teams that make way too much sense for Brandon Sherf. How he remains unsigned, like Cooper and Simmons, is truly beyond us. Stephon Gilmore. It's hard for cornerbacks in their mid-30s to play at an adequate level. So, the longevity of the 2019 Defensive Player of the Year must be applauded. Now, of course, the 5-time Pro Bowler and 2-time first-team All-Pro is not in his prime anymore, but Gilmore fared pretty well in his age 34 season with the Minnesota Vikings, making a game-saving interception off Aaron Rodgers in Week 5 against the New York Jets. Gilmore had 9 pass breakups and finished with a 63.9 PFF grade, boasted by a run defense grade of 77.6 that ranked 28th among 222 corners. So, yeah, Gilmore is very much a starting caliber corner at this phase of his career. And one thing that hasn't left since his final season with the New England Patriots, his clutch ball hawking skills. Only 12 corners have recorded more pass breakups than Gilmore's 33 since 2022, folks. The guy can still play. If anything else, a team can sign him as a backup piece and lean on Gilmore's veteran leadership and big game experience. A man with a Super Bowl 53 ring and 2 AFC Championship victories could really help a young team take that next step forward. Gabe Davis. The cap-strapped Buffalo Bills made the tough decision to let Davis walk in 2024 free agency, despite cementing himself as one of the league's better deep threats. The Jacksonville Jaguars pounced on the opportunity and signed the speedster to a 3-year deal worth $39 million, hoping that he'd be another weapon for Trevor Lawrence. But Big Game Gabe just never found his game in Duval County. He caught just 20 passes for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns before suffering a torn meniscus that ended his season at 10 games. Davis averaged 12 yards per catch and 23.9 yards per game in 2024, which were both career lows by a wide margin. 1 year after handing him that massive deal in free agency, the Jaguars decided to cut Davis following the 2025 draft. Now, one bad year does not mean that Davis was a product of Josh Allen and the Bills' offense. The 2024 Jaguars were broken. Like, completely broken, even before Trevor Lawrence suffered a concussion that ended his season. Literally, nobody on that unit lived up to expectations, except maybe rookie Brian Thomas Jr. With his game-breaking speed and flair for the dramatic, hence the Big Game Gabe nickname, Davis should not have been on the market for long. Look, just saying, you can never have too many playmaking weapons in today's NFL. Marcus Williams. Man, this guy's kind of fallen off the map, huh? To Williams' credit, his missed tackle in the Minneapolis Miracle in 2017's divisional round playoff game did not define nor destroy his career, turning that production into a 5-year, $70 million deal with the Baltimore Ravens in 2022. Williams was supposed to be the final piece for a dangerous Ravens secondary that also had Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peter, and Kyle Hamilton. But unfortunately, injuries caused him to miss 19 games over 3 years in Baltimore, and he just never really seemed to fit in their defense. Baltimore cut Williams after the 2024 season, finding a valuable replacement in first-round pick Malachi Starks out of Georgia. After Williams tallied a horrendous 42.9 PFF grade last year, can you really blame him? He's been around for a while now, but Williams is only entering his age 29 season. He's not ancient for an NFL safety by any means. But will a forgettable stint in Baltimore mark the beginning of the end for his playing career? Unlikely. Mante Samuel Jr., the son of the 4-time Pro Bowler and 2-time Super Bowl champion, has not reached the level of stardom that Senior did. But he certainly inherited his dad's elite ball hawking skills, recording 6 interceptions and 37 pass breakups. Unfortunately, a shoulder injury limited him to 4 games, so Harbaugh never got a real chance to fully unlock his potential. Samuel Jr. underwent neck surgery in April, so there are medical red flags here, hence why he hasn't signed yet. Still, a young player with his skill set should have landed a contract by now. You can't tell us most teams have multiple cornerbacks with higher ceilings than Asante Jr. Javian Clowney. Clowney never lived up to the generational label, but hey, he's still been an above-average pass rusher through his first 11 NFL seasons. Clowney's 5.5 sacks from 2024 don't scream elite, but the advanced stats prove that he's still a true difference maker. Even on a lousy Carolina Panthers team, Clowney finished 13th in ESPN's pass rush win rate among edge rushers, and 3rd in run stopping behind only Rashawn Gary and Max Crosby. That's sort of why it was baffling when the Panthers released Clowney after the 2025 NFL Draft, even though he was the top pass rusher on a team that gave up the most points last year. Clowney's production has been up and down throughout his career, but his elite run defense and big playability would make him a worthwhile addition for any team, really. Players with 5 seasons of 9+ sacks don't exactly grow on trees after all. Keenan Allen. The 6-time Pro Bowler had an up-and-down one-year stint with the Chicago Bears, but it's hard to really fault the former Chargers superstar. The Bears, specifically the Caleb Williams-led offense, were victims of coaching malpractice. Allen also had to share reps with superstar DJ Moore and prize rookie Romo Dunze, and despite that, he finished with 70 receptions for 744 yards and 6 touchdowns. Allen is still a crafty route runner and dangerous red zone threat. He makes sense for most teams, but the Buffalo Bills, Los Angeles Rams, Denver Broncos, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Houston Texans really stand out as the more logical landing spots. It doesn't make sense that one of the game's best offensive weapons of the past decade is still unsigned at this phase. But hey, which other big-named free agents did you forget are still available? Was there anyone notable that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking that like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.